this was now 5 years ago when we started making the first episode of Mad Men. And it was for a very tiny network.
But a woman you can't have, because they have all the qualities of a jaguar. Good looking, expensive, fast, and frankly...
Remember when prestige TV meant The Sopranos? And that was it? Then, in 2007, AMC dropped a show about advertising executives chain smoking through the 1960s. And suddenly, everyone was obsessed with mid-century furniture and old fashions. Mad Men didn't just revive AMC from showing old movies, it made slow-burn drama cool again. No explosions, no zombies, just broken people in perfect suits destroying themselves in conference rooms.
Unfortunately, it was kind of boring. On set went on Mad Men when Matt Weiner was there. There would be a little tipple of whiskey by the cameras, and you could go and have a little.
Today, we're diving into 15 weird and wonderful facts about the show that prove television could be art.
PR people understand this, but they can never execute it. If you don't like what is being said, change the conversation.
The show was rejected by HBO because it was too subtle. Matthew Weiner pitched Mad Men to HBO first, obviously. They just dominated prestige TV with The Sopranos. HBO executives loved the writing, loved the period detail, loved everything except one thing. Nothing happened. Their notes were brutal. Where's the hook? Where's the violence? Why should audiences care about ad men? They wanted Weiner to add mob connections, make Don Draper a secret criminal, anything with higher stakes. Weiner refused. HBO passed, calling it too interior, too slow. AMC, desperate for original content, picked it up specifically because it was subtle. They needed something different from basic cable's typical programming. The show HBO rejected for being boring won 16 Emmys and saved AMC from bankruptcy. Sometimes too subtle just means the audience is smarter than executives think. John Hamm auditioned for years before getting cast. John Hamm auditioned for Mad Men in 2005, then 2006, then 2007. 3 years of callbacks, screen tests, and near misses. AMC wanted a movie star for Don Draper, someone with box office recognition. Hamm was a TV guest star who'd been in maybe 6 episodes of various shows. Casting director kept pushing him, "This is Don Draper, just watch." Executives weren't convinced. Too tall, too unknown, too theatrical. What changed? They ran out of movie stars willing to commit to cable television. Every A-lister passed. Hamm was literally the last option. Matthew Weiner fought for him, threatening to walk if they didn't cast Hamm. AMC relented. The actors had to learn how to smoke properly for the era Mad Men's characters smoke constantly, exactly like real 1960s professionals. But modern actors don't know how to smoke properly because nobody smokes anymore. The production hired a smoking coach to teach the cast 1960s smoking etiquette and technique. How to hold cigarettes differently for men versus women. When to light up. How to smoke while talking without looking awkward. The cigarettes themselves were herbal, tobacco-free props, but they still produced smoke and required proper inhaling technique. January Jones admitted the smoking scenes made her genuinely nauseous for the first season. She'd never smoked anything before and struggled with the constant cigarette work. The Office set cost $2 million and was historically accurate down to pencils. Sterling Cooper's office wasn't just dressed to look 1960s appropriate. Every single item was historically verified and period accurate. The pencils were correct for 1960. The typewriter models matched the year. The telephone system was authentic, rewired to work with modern technology. Set designers spent 8 months researching office environments, tracking down vintage furniture, and consulting corporate historians. The desks, chairs, filing cabinets, everything was either original 1960s pieces or exact reproductions. Carpets were custom woven to match period patterns. The famous mid-century modern aesthetic wasn't a style choice, it was historical accuracy. Production designer Dan Bishop sourced items from estate sales, corporate liquidations, and vintage dealers across America. January Jones wore a corset in every single scene. Betty Draper's perfect posture and rigid physical presence wasn't acting. January Jones wore an actual corset under every costume for 7 seasons. Not shapewear or modern foundation garments, but authentic 1960s corsets with steel boning that restricted breathing and movement. Costume designer Janie Bryant insisted on it for historical accuracy. Upper-class women in the early 1960s wore serious undergarments that literally shaped their bodies and restricted their physical freedom. Jones said the corset informed Betty's entire performance, the stiffness, the controlled movements, the barely suppressed rage. Try expressing emotion when you can't breathe deeply. The corset made Betty's explosions more powerful because you could see the physical restraint breaking. The show's title sequence almost didn't exist. That iconic falling man opening? AMC hated it. Network executives thought it was too dark, too depressing, too suicidal. They wanted something upbeat, showing the glamorous advertising world. Designer Steve Fuller created it anyway, ignoring network notes completely. The falling silhouette, the mid-century graphics, the RJD2 music, all Fuller's vision based on Saul Bass and Alfred Hitchcock title design. He presented it as, "This is the only option that works." AMC still resisted. Matthew Weiner threatened to credit Fuller as producer if they changed it, which would have cost money. AMC grudgingly kept it for the pilot. Christina Hendricks was told she was too voluptuous for television before Mad Men. Christina Hendricks couldn't book roles. Casting directors repeatedly told her agent she was too curvy for television. Her body type didn't fit early 2000 standards where every actress was size 0. She'd audition for everything and get feedback like too distracting or not TV-friendly. Joan Holloway was written as a conventionally attractive supporting character. Hendricks auditioned, and Weiner immediately rewrote the character around her. Suddenly, Joan became central to the show's examination of how women navigate male-dominated workplaces using everything available, including sexuality. Hendricks' physicality became inseparable from Joan's power. The role made her a cultural phenomenon and changed casting standards for women in television. She went from unemployable to Emmy-nominated. Fashion designers who'd never make clothes in her size started dressing her for events. The too voluptuous actress redefined what leading women could look like on TV. The show filmed in Los Angeles, but set in New York. Mad Men takes place in Manhattan. Every episode is set in New York City. Not a single scene was filmed there. The entire production was based in Los Angeles, using sound stages and California locations disguised as New York. Sterling Cooper's office? A soundstage in LA. Don's apartment? A set in Burbank. The New York streets? Carefully selected LA blocks that could pass for 1960s Manhattan with strategic camera angles. Why? Money. Filming in actual New York would have cost 3 times as much. Production designers became experts at faking New York using LA architecture, specific trees that existed in both cities, and avoiding any identifiable West Coast elements. The few times characters travel, like California episodes, they actually filmed in those locations. But Manhattan, the show's spiritual center, was always a California soundstage. New York audiences never noticed. The illusion was perfect. Don Draper's character was based on a real ad executive's double life. Don Draper's stolen identity backstory sounds like dramatic fiction. It's not. Matthew Weiner based it on a real advertising executive who stole a dead soldier's identity during the Korean War and built an entirely fake life. The real person worked in advertising through the 1960s, was successful and respected, and nobody discovered the truth until decades later. Weiner read about it in a biography about the advertising industry and thought, this is the perfect metaphor for American reinvention. Don's constant fear of exposure, his inability to form genuine connections, his self-destructive patterns, all rooted in that true story. Weiner never revealed which executive inspired the character, protecting the real person's family. But every major beat of Don's secret past came from actual historical events. The most unbelievable part of Don Draper is that someone actually lived that exact life. Sterling Cooper's accounts, were based on real ad campaigns. The advertising campaigns shown in Mad Men weren't just generic fake products. Many were based on actual 1960s campaigns with names changed for legal reasons. Lucky Strike's tobacco ads pulled directly from real Philip Morris strategies. The Kodak carousel pitch in The Wheel was inspired by an actual legendary presentation. Researchers worked with advertising historians to ensure campaign strategies matched real 1960s approaches. When characters discuss market research or demographic targeting, they're using authentic period advertising theory. The sexist, racist pitches that make modern audiences cringe? Those happened. Verbatim dialogue from some pitches came from actual archived campaign presentations. The cast wasn't allowed to tan or get modern haircuts. Mad Men's contracts included strict appearance clauses. Actors couldn't tan because upper-class 1960s professionals didn't have suntans. No modern haircuts between seasons. No visible tattoos, ever. No dental work that would create anachronistic smiles. Jon Hamm couldn't lose or gain significant weight without approval. The women couldn't change hair color. John Slattery had to maintain his white hair exactly. These clauses extended to the actors' real lives year-round. January Jones got in trouble for appearing at an event with slightly sun-damaged skin before Season 3 filming. Production sent a memo. Actors joked they were living in the 1960s even offset. Matthew Weiner wouldn't let product placement in the show. AMC wanted product placement deals desperately. Mad Men's 1960s setting was perfect for nostalgic brand integration. Companies offered millions to feature their products. Weiner refused everything. No paid placements, no brand deals, no corporate partnerships. If a product appeared, it was because the story required it, not because someone paid for it. This was radical for basic cable, which relied on advertiser money. AMC pushed back hard. Weiner threatened to quit. The network backed down, terrified of losing their only prestige show. The decision cost AMC an estimated $15 to $20 million in potential revenue over 7 seasons. But it gave Weiner complete creative freedom. The series finale was planned from episode 1. Matthew Weiner knew exactly how Mad Men would end before writing the pilot. The Coca-Cola Hilltop ad was always the endpoint. Don's journey from identity theft to creating the most famous commercial in history was architected from the beginning. Weiner told no one, not the writers, not the cast, not the network. He kept the finale in his head for 7 years. When Person to Person aired with that final Coke ad reveal, critics called it genius. Weiner revealed he'd been building toward it since 2007. Every character arc, every thematic element, every meditation on identity and capitalism led to that specific moment. The show cost AMC $3 million per episode, but saved the network. Mad Men's budget was insane for basic cable. Each episode cost roughly $2.5 to $3 million, astronomical for AMC in 2007. The network was failing, mostly airing old movies and low-budget reality shows. Mad Men was a financial gamble that could have bankrupted them. Season 1's ratings were modest, around 900,000 viewers. Not enough to justify the cost. AMC almost canceled it. Then, critical acclaim started building. Emmy nominations. Cultural buzz. Suddenly, Mad Men was prestige that attracted audiences to AMC for the first time. The network used it to launch Breaking Bad, then The Walking Dead. Mad Men's ratings never exceeded 3 million viewers, but it transformed AMC's brand identity from old movie channel to prestige original programming. Jon Hamm didn't win an Emmy until the final season. After 8 nominations, Jon Hamm was nominated for Outstanding Lead Actor in a drama series 8 consecutive years. He lost every single time. Breaking Bad's Bryan Cranston beat him 4 times. Damian Lewis, Jeff Daniels, Homeland, The Newsroom, anyone but Hamm. It became a running joke, the most consistent snub in Emmy history. Hamm handled it gracefully publicly, while admitting frustration privately. He'd defined prestige, TV leading men, influenced an entire generation of performances, and couldn't win the industry's recognition. Then, 2015, Mad Men's final season. Ham was nominated again for the last time. The TV Academy finally gave it to him, obviously, as a legacy award for the complete performance. Ham's acceptance speech was emotional. Thanking everyone while subtly acknowledging it took 8 tries. And there you have it, 15 weird and wonderful facts about Mad Men. From HBO rejections, to corset torture, to 8 Emmy snubs. Which fact shocked you most? What did we miss? Drop it in the comments. Hit like if you still can't make an old-fashioned correctly. Subscribe for more deep dives into shows that redefine television, and share this with a friend who thinks prestige TV started with streaming. Until next time, make it simple but significant.